Hello, welcome to easyodds.com. My name is Ross Casey. I'm here with the horse racing extraordinaire that is Jake Johns, who just last weekend found himself a 9-1 winner with Winter in the 1,000 Guineas, which was an excellent pick, as always, from our man Jake Johns. You can look back at that video in the videos on our subscription service, which of course you can join by just pressing the subscribe button. It's as easy as that. But this week we're here with an early video on a Monday, rare for us, but rare. Important because there is a midweek race that you really like, the look of, the Chester Cup. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into the Chester Cup.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, the Chester Cup on Wednesday. Just quickly go through the Guineas. 2,000 Guineas, insane race, absolutely insane race. Churchill couldn't have got more of a dream ride through. Ryan Moore, very nice on the rail. Stands rail, but the APA Bryan boys did one over on everyone else. It was a tactical masterclass from Aidan O'Brien once more. Barney Roy couldn't get out, got completely boxed in at the cutaway. Tried to get over to Churchill's side, but had to race on his own. Managed to come second in the end. Was quite free at the beginning as well, and stumbled coming into the dip. For me, he was probably the one to take out of the race anyway, although because of the slowly run nature of the race and even though Churchill was a decisive win, I'm not saying that Churchill probably wouldn't have won anyway, but I mean, I just want to see a fast run race, a properly run race, because now we've got more questions than answers. Hopefully they can all reoppose each other at Ascot or something in the St James's Palace Stakes. That would be nice. And yeah, the 1,000 Guineas as well. Rhododendron ran into a bit of trouble, managed to run on into second. Obviously Winter won. Still pulled pretty hard in the first couple of furlongs. There's still a lot more to come from her, I think. I think she could be seriously good. And she won with a bit in hand anyway. I'm not sure if Rhododendron would have got there. Maybe she would have. But yeah, it's a good win. I had a bit of money on her because my tip in the race before broke through the stalls. So put all that money straight on Winter. So that was quite nice. But Chester Cup is a beast. It's one of my favourite races of the entire year. 2 miles, 2.5 furlongs, like no other, around Chester, the tightest track there is. I backed the winner last year and tipped it no heretic. But he pulled like an absolute lunatic for pretty much the entire race. Don't even know how Jamie Spencer stayed on, and somehow won. So that was ridiculous. But hopefully I can find the winner here. It's a fiendishly tricky puzzle to solve though. The Chester Cup coming quite early on in the season. I would have been all over the Magic Circle for Rafe Beckett and Fran Berry, but it's been drawn out in the car park in 17. He was drawn out in the car park again. I think it was in 22 when he came. Staying on third to Golden Spear, who he's racing again against here. Golden Spear is going to be ridden by Ryan Moore, so he's obviously going to attract quite a lot of support as well. But I actually like the Magic Circle better, even though he's drawn out in 17. He's only up a pound for that run when he was behind Golden Spear last time. I think he needs a lot of luck in running coming from that wide, but maybe he could run into a place at an alright price as well, actually. But another one that's probably overpriced is Fun Mac. Champion jockey Jim Crowley on board. He gets fast ground, which he absolutely desperately needs, and he was competing in really, really good races last season. If he can kind of put it all together, he could run into a place as well. But the one I like is Who Dares Wins for Alan King. He could be absolutely thrown in here. When I was looking at the tips this morning, I tipped him at 16-1. When I put it up, immediately 10-1, so I had to change it to 10-1, which was annoying. So he's about 10-1 now. Tom Marquand on board, very, very good apprentice from last year. And this is the 5-year-old. He was staying on third in the Coral Cup when we last saw him at the Cheltenham Festival, so he's clearly very talented over hurdles. That gave him a whopping mark of 148 over hurdles, and his flat official rating is 92. So he could be absolutely thrown in here. Honestly, it would surprise me if he didn't go a favourite. He's favourite in some places already. Other standout pieces of hurdles form that he showed last year. He was a 9-length winner at Newbury. I tipped him that day. And he was staying on fourth behind Grade 1 winner Ballyoptic at Chepstow at the start of the season back in October. When we last saw him on the flat, he's only had one run since being gelded, so he's obviously got lots more to come there. Before he was gelded, he was running for Richard Hannon. In 2015, he always took better to good to firm ground, fast ground than soft ground. One of the last race he had before he was gelded, actually, he won a race at Sandown, which is working out really nicely in a pretty quick time. He beat Secateur that day, who was quite fancied, John Gosden horse, and he was 15 lengths ahead of Star Rider, who has won some decent handicaps since then, has gone up £15 in the rating, so it was quite a good race. Very, very interesting also. Jumps trainers do really, really well in this race, kind of like the Ascot Stakes at Royal Ascot. In this Chester Cup, they've done really well. Nicky Henderson won it last year, of course, with No Heretic. 3 of the last 6 renewals have actually gone to jumps trainers, which is kind of insane when you think of the amount of jumps trainers that enter horses compared to flat trainers in this race. It's a very low percentage compared to flat trainers, and to have won 3 of the last 6 renewals is kind of interesting to me. He's basically, overall, I think he's thrown in off this mark. He should love the ground, and he's pretty well drawn in 7 as well. Nothing wrong with that at all. He's got a very, very obvious chance. When I saw his 16-1, I was absolutely thinking this is the best bet ever, but he's 10-1 now, which is still a good price. He'll go off shorter, more than likely, probably about 7-1. Probably be favourite, I'd say. Another one that caught my eye, and also got massively back just before I posted it, Sir Chauvelin even. 33-1 was what I found it at. Now he's 20-1 best price, which is still a good price for Jim Goldie and Sam James. He basically started off the season like a completely rejuvenated horse. He disappointed in 2 runs last season, just towards the back end. He started off this season with a really unlucky 6 of 13 at Musselburgh. He found no luck in running. If you want to rewatch that race, just find out whatever at the races, whatever Racing UK, and he literally just was behind a wall of horses the entire time until the very last quarter or half of a furlong, and he stayed on really well. And the race is working out really well as well. The second ran well in the Cigaro Stakes next time, wasn't embarrassed at all. And the third one next time at Salisbury, so it was a pretty decent race. He then stepped him up to 2 miles, where he ran like 2 miles would be the minimum trip for him that day. He travelled nicely throughout, met a bit of trouble again, and then stayed on really strongly at the finish into second. But he looked like he might want a little bit further. So I think this step up and trip could eke out a little bit more improvement. He's a nice price at 20-1. So yeah, I think he's worth an each way bet. So same as Who Dares Wins. I mean, you could even go win. No, that's mental. Not in the Chester Cup. So we'll do each way Who Dares Wins at 10-1, and Sir Chauvelin, probably Sir Chauvelin actually, at 20-1 each way.
That's excellent stuff from the man who is just off the back of a 9-1 winner in 1,000 guineas. So take advantage of those prices, because they're tumbling all the time, because as soon as Jake backs something, the bookies absolutely brick themselves, let's face it, and they make the prices a lot shorter. So
I don't know what happened with these two. I think the Who Dares Wins one, he was just the wrong price in the first place, that's why he got backed. And I don't know about Chauvelin, probably, I don't know, it's pretty good form as well. I mean, it's just in the grand scheme of things, 33-1 was too big, so more than likely that they just did the wrong odds in the first place.
I personally think that they've got your work laptop bugged, and as soon as they see who you're backing, they drop the price.
Been on my webcam.
So thanks very much for watching, and don't forget that later this week we will have the best and biggest Easy Odds video coming, where me and Jake go through the Eurovision entries of this year. I'm sure that there'll be some dancing, some singing, and lots of moaning from Jake, so look forward to that. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, comment on this video, give Jake a big pat on the back for his win on Sunday, and of course make sure that you use the Easy Odds app to get the best prices possible using our odds comparison service for this race, the Chester Cup. So thanks very much for watching. I've been Ross Casey, this is Jay Johns.
Bye.